You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Oh, yeah, Monday. Good morning and welcome to a crappy Skype call. Good. Yeah, I'm excited about trying to do this. I'm Daniel Hargrove.
And I'm Justin Domashevitz. We got a great show for you today. That's our my eternally optimistic co-host there, Daniel Hargrove, who spent the better part of the last 2 hours trying to figure out technical issues with his computer so that we could bring you the show. That's how dedicated he is with the help of our trusty producer, Andrew Gross. But we have lots of cool stuff we want to talk about today, specifically things like NFL draft analysis and maybe a little bit of scuttlebutt going on around the NFL.
Absolutely. So we're going to get it going with the 2-minute drill, which is brought to you by State Farm agent Mark Rossetti.
It's not just a home or a car, it's the 6 months you save to get your Ultra HD flat screen just in time for football season. It's the overtime you worked for that third car so that your team can drive themselves to practice. While other insurance companies just see them as a bundle or a combo, State Farm agent Mark Rossetti sees your home and car as things you work really hard for. Mark understands what your things really mean to you and is here to help you give them the protection they deserve. Visit Mark Rossetti at 613 Oak Street in Aberdeen for your home and auto insurance today.
Let's go, huddle up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to the ref. Gonna do it right. 3-jet Buckeye on one.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce said on the Dan Patrick Show last week that Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes will get $50 million a year on his next contract. Justin, do you think Mahomes could hit that mark?
I do think it's an interesting conversation because at the moment we really don't have any idea how contracts will be affected by the way the economics of sports have been impacted right now based on what's going on with COVID-19. I do think if things stay the same, maybe 40, maybe 43, 45 million seems a little more realistic. 50 million, I love the fact that this tight end is coming out and caping up for his quarterback saying, pay the man his money, he's worth it. But $50 million a year seems like a bit of a stretch. NFL Network analyst Lance Zierlein compared former Alabama and Oklahoma quarterback Jalen Hurts to Tim Tebow in his NFL.com draft profile. Among other things, Zierlein said, like Tebow, Hurts is a winning dual-threat quarterback known for his strength, toughness, and character. Daniel, what do you think about this comparison, and what does it say about Hurts' NFL potential?
I don't quite see him very similarly, at least not that similarly as Zierlein does. But, you know, who will know until you actually get into the NFL? You can certainly say dual threat, known for his strength. But, you know, you have to wait and see, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see because the NFL has also changed so much since Tebow was in, and teams can use quarterbacks who might take a little bit longer to develop their throwing game more now, as they're much more prone to use the quarterback in the running game. The Carolina Panthers made Christian McCaffrey the highest paid running back in NFL history, giving him a 4-year contract extension worth $16 million per year and $30 million guaranteed. The 23-year-old still had 2 years left on his rookie contract. Justin, did the Panthers make the right decision?
While in general I am opposed to paying massive contracts to running backs because it feels like you can get better value if you pick one later in the draft, and as long as you invest in a good offensive line, you can still get production, I do think this might be a deal that the Panthers needed to make. They no longer have Luke Kuechly. They no longer have Cam Newton. They have basically a faceless franchise here. And if they lost Christian McCaffrey, because it sounds like all indications were he was going to hold out. So if he held out and all of a sudden they just have nobody, they're going to start to lose their fans. By paying this early while he's only 23 years old, that means that he won't be quite as old as a lot of these running backs are when they get towards the end of this deal. So they'll have him through age 28, 29. I think it's worth the money to have a guy who's so versatile and is still relatively young. Rumors are swirling about the possibility of LaMarcus Aldridge returning to the Portland Trailblazers and reuniting with Damian Lillard. Both players have publicly said that they would be open to a reunion. Daniel, as a fan, would you welcome Aldridge back?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to have LaMarcus Aldridge back with that team. Not quite sure how the fits would all work out. He is going to be a little bit older, but I think this is a team that would be able to find a way to work with both of them. He's definitely not the player he was before he left, which was the star of that team pretty much, but he still is a very good player, and they've kind of been searching for a power forward ever since he's left. So I think it could be a good option. Do I expect it to be the thing that will push the Blazers over the top? No, I really don't.
I made sure you were done that time, Daniel.
Great 2-minute drill. Great 2-minute drill brought to you by State Farm agent Mark Rossetti. I don't want to talk a ton about all of these issues, but I think this last question is really interesting to me because the time that LaMarcus Aldridge was like, he really became a star and was at his peak while he's with the Blazers. And I mean, I'll be honest, the Blazers seemed like they were a team on the rise. When he left, when Dame was super young and he was really good, but he was still kind of finding his star potential, when LaMarcus Aldridge left, it felt like they were on the verge of doing something really great. And there was a tiny bit of bad blood there between those guys, between Dame and LaMarcus. But, you know, hearing LaMarcus Aldridge talk about it, he was like, you know, we did talk about it and we worked it out. And it wasn't even an argument. It was just a discussion. And the two of them have had conversations. And LaMarcus Aldridge says, I've been telling Dame that I want to come back and finish my career there. So with his free agency pending in the offseason, coming up on 35 years old, it feels like this could be the time we could see LaMarcus Aldridge come back. And one thing that you need to see from big guys when some of the physical strength traits may tend to deteriorate a little bit, he has developed an outside shot. He shot 38.9% from three-point range on an average of about 3-pointers per game last season. So I think the way he's been able to adjust his game could be, you know, like you said, Daniel, it might not be the thing that sets the Blazers over the top, like as far as to win an NBA title, but it could be something that would give them a really big boost.
Yeah, I think so too. And I follow the Blazers, and so I've listened to Damian and LaMarcus Aldridge make comments about their relationship in the past, and it did seem like they were able to work things out and talk about it in fairly amicable situations. So I don't think that would be an issue, and I think that their styles of play would work really well together. So it would definitely be interesting. And as a Blazers fan, I mean, I loved LaMarcus Aldridge. I loved when he was there. So I would absolutely want him to be able to come back twilight of his career and maybe help them get back into the playoffs, back into that Western Conference Finals. And then once you get there, you know, who knows what happens at that point. It would be interesting to see the roster construction around those guys, I think, and how that would work out. And yeah, it would be really interesting to see. And a couple of my favorite players playing together would be a blast. And again, hopefully I'm coming through okay, because it's this call is super sketchy on my end. So I'm just kind of hoping that everything's coming through okay.
Everything's coming through good so far.
Well, we got all kinds of issues today. Daniel's audio is a little sketchy. I can't stop coughing. I apologize for my coughing. I try to get as far away from the microphone as I possibly can, and we will move on. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, State Farm agent Mark Rossetti, the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, and also Oli Penn Real Estate, who are helping make this show possible. And we are bringing this show to you despite all of the extra hours that we had to put into, maybe this quality isn't quite what we hoped it would be, but we hope that you will stick with us, because at some point things are going to go back to normal. We'll get back in the studio and we'll bring you the show that you really want to hear.